Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish out on the movies. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and you're well on your way into the Christmas season, which we are. We are door dashing now, which means we deliver food to people a few hours a day, but not every day. Mark was working on his movie. I'm selling clothes right and left. Because I did something with my Poshmark closet that allows me to get my clothes out there, like advertised better. So anyway, we're back into Hell's Kitchen.
Safi.
They took a break last week.
I only took a little square bite of that brownie and I feel sick.
Oh, we went to a place, we actually had delivery, a pickup and delivery from a place called Crumble. It's a cookie and brownie and pie place, and it's only been in business for a year or two. It's a locally owned family who runs it and owns it, and anyway, we thought it looked so good we would get something for ourselves, and we bought a Jimmy Fallon brownie and some kind of lemon cookie, which the icing on it was like lemon pudding or the filling that you would find in a donut. So anyway, they're very fattening.
Safi.
Okay, so let's go to the episode tonight.
Safi.
Hell's Kitchen, which took a break last week.
Safi.
What?
This is episode 10. First off, they did the blind taste test challenge.
Which is fun.
And I like that. I like to see, like, what the palates are of the chefs that are there in the competition, like, season to season, because it's almost kind of like back when, like, they had the trading cards with with character statistics on them. You know, like, this character has 10 out of 10 power, and this character only has 5 out of 10 speed. And so that's what it kind of reminds me of.
Well, this competition, I would say the women did so much better. Not every single one of them, but the majority, maybe, what was there, 5 women? There 3 out of 5. They got every one right.
Yeah.
And what happens is they are wearing headphones and something else and blindfolds, and he has like 4 bowls of some kind of food, like one time he had peas, he had cheddar cheese, what's that, those fish things that people don't want on their pizza, and the women, I mean, they got these 3 women, they got every single one right, and then if they were wrong, a member of the opposing team, well, they have one of each, because the women, maybe they wouldn't get it right, so they have one of each, would get up there, and they would get stuff poured on them. Syrup, eggs, whatever.
But basically, all the men's team got shit poured on them.
Yes, they did. And they had, whoever
Kyle,
the loser was, would have to clean it all up.
Kyle, I don't know if this was, like, for sure or not, because, like, it was, like, a split second that they showed it, but Kyle had his mouth open while they were pouring stuff.
Oh, God.
And I don't want to say anything more about that, but
that's gross.
Safi, that's like something you would do.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you would.
No, you'd like drown. They were pouring stuff like syrup all over them,
and Gordon had to say, "Kyle, close your mouth, idiot. Close your fucking mouth, you dumb boy."
So the people who were in the restaurant tonight eating their food...
No, Safi, we have to go over...
Oh, okay.
The women's team won.
Of course.
They got to go to what's called like a dessert party or something, and they had tons of different desserts. They had cakes that looked like beef Wellington.
They had mixed drinks.
They had a giant cake that looked like a cutting board. They had flames, like edible chocolate flames. I thought that was really cool. That was like something that I'd imagine Buddy doing from Cake Boss.
They also got a gift of different cookware and like salad spinners and and a gift certificate to some store, which I didn't hear. And I may not have been familiar with even if I'd heard it.
Safi doesn't do a lot of hearing. She does a lot of talking.
Oh, stop BSing.
So, and then the men's team, they had to clean everything up.
Perfectly.
And Brandon was having a little temper tantrum. He was like, I'm sick of losing. Even though, like, didn't he, like...
He did terrible.
Was last week or the week before the one where he got the punishment pass and he got to go to New York?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, honestly, like, he got to go to New York when all those other guys had to stay there, so...
Right.
I feel like...
Be quiet.
He's a weakling.
No, he's a little whiny.
He's kind of a girly chef,
and
you know?
Really, none of those men... for the most part, they did not do very well on tasting.
No, they all did terribly, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But what I noticed was that the women's team, they were kind of like, I don't know, I think that they were a little bit too used to winning and too used to being safe, and it really showed in the service because basically everyone did terribly except for Hannah, and then was there one other person who did good?
The African American girl from the
South. Yeah,
Whit.
So Whit and Hannah were the only ones who did good. Everyone else made mistakes, and especially Brittany and Amanda.
No, Amanda. I mean, I didn't realize this, that you have to shape scallops. I thought they were already circles. And before they all do dinner, they have to do dinner prep. And what they had to do, because they had scallop appetizers, you have to cut them or something. I didn't realize that. She cut all different shapes, like rectangles and different sized circles. And you know, if you see scallops, they're all supposed to be circles, like $50 sized pieces. And so right off the bat, she was in trouble with Chef Ramsay, and he didn't really get real mad at them, but you know, because all of them, men and women, the mistakes they were making weren't really bad, but anyway, that was weird. Anyway, they had to fix that. But what else? What other issues? Oh well, there was one where
Amanda, I feel like I don't know how she's still there.
I don't either.
But also,
it irritates me.
The irritating part is that she is the loudest one on the women's team. She is the loudest, most outspoken person, and yet she's the worst one there. It's almost like it's like a defense mechanism type of thing. Like, if I'm really loud and outspoken about how great I am and how everyone else is terrible, then nobody's going to think about sending me home.
Which I think she was the one who messed up the scallops in the first place.
I can't remember.
I think
it might have been Brittany. Because Brittany was bad too. Brittany deserved to go home, but Amanda deserved to go home too. Honestly.
And at the end, obviously, he had to pick a losing team. And like I said, they really didn't make terribly egregious mistakes. So it was kind of like a fine line between who did well and who didn't. And there was just little things with the women, like the scallops at the beginning. And then there was some kind of lack of communication. And this Amanda, she wouldn't talk. The other girl asked her, said, about times, like when something was going to be done, and she wouldn't say anything. She wouldn't answer. Yet at the end, she was allowed to pick two people to be booted out. Sorry, my throat's dry.
No, I think that they voted, and she's just the one who got to talk. I'm not really sure how that whole thing works.
Yeah, I can understand that at all.
But anyways, the men's team didn't do too terribly. One of the things that was kind of like a red herring was that there were some guests in the dining room, And these guests like Penn and Teller and people like them, close the door all the way, Safi. Once again, you're proving to be a terrible co-host. But anyways, there were these certain guests in the dining room, and they had to leave early, and so they were on a time limit, and it was kind of like a red herring that like, are they not going to serve? Okay, Safi, be quiet now. Are they not going to serve them? Are they not going to get to them? Like, that was kind of like a red herring that they had to throw you off. And I was kind of worried, though, because both teams are not the greatest. Like, if you had to grade both teams, Safi, what would you give each team? Like, letter grade? No, that's not a grade, Safi. Give both teams letter grades.
Well, I think that the guy, the African-American guy, Egypt, he seems to do really well.
No, but it's called a team, Safi.
I know, but
said
as a team, I don't think they're that great at all. And the women's the same.
Now you're not talking, you're
I'm
leaving
trying to
silent space.
I'm thinking about the women, and that one girl I mentioned, I can't keep forgetting her name, from the South. She does pretty well. So I can think of, on each team, there's like one person who kind of sticks out as pretty good, but really as a whole, I'm not impressed with either team.
So you haven't answered my question
What's
yet.
the question?
You're pulling a politician.
What's the question?
Probably because you watch them all the time.
What's the question?
What grades would you give each team?
I don't know. I guess the men I would give a B, because I don't think they made too many mistakes at all.
I mean overall.
Oh, overall? Oh.
For the season.
Oh. Wow. Well, I think I give them both teams a C, because like I said, I mean, Hannah is okay, but like I said, how can you be the winning chef if you're just okay?
Well,
I can only think of one member of each
it's happened
team
plenty of other years, you know.
Well, I haven't watched it in years, but like I said, I can only think of one person on each team who stands out above the rest.
Really?
And to me,
Hannah and Egypt. Those are the only two.
About
that's not an answer.
The other girl, Wit. She does really well too.
I don't think she's a leader.
Well, that's true. She's kind of she has kind of an attitude.
She's kind of like the chef in the back who is really strong but isn't like a leader.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't know. I just don't think it's like she doesn't want to share the spotlight.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to. You know, if she gives to the rest, then they might go above her, and I don't think she wants that. So she just doesn't. I mean, if she's doing something and she has to tell them, I'll be, my food's going to be ready in a minute, and coming up, you know, all the things they say that shows that they're ready, and they're bringing the food up to the counter to be served to the diners and the area, the eating area, and but she's not very she doesn't want to share.
Well, I would give the men's team a C minus.
Well, tonight they had the one guy, the Italian guy, whose father was Sicilian.
Now we should talk. Well, I'll just finish the grades first.
Okay.
Instead of like jumping all over the place like I'm
that's
on
another
drugs
one
or
of
something.
the men's team.
And then the women's team, I would give a C. So it's a C and a C minus.
Yeah.
They've had some really bad services, getting kicked out over and over again.
Yeah.
Which is really, really bad.
And that would bring their grade way down.
But the Italian guy, Joe, I think Joe.
I don't know.
Is it Joe? Is it Scott or something? Okay, so
that.
Joe, he is another weakling. he starts crying and having a tantrum about his kids. My kids. I need to see my kids. I haven't seen my kids in a couple of weeks, and it's like,
it kills me.
You're in a fucking competition that you signed up for.
Right. It's not like you didn't know you were not going to be away from them, and you can't sacrifice this amount of time, which is hardly anything all compared to the rest of your life. It's like a minute part to compete and get this prize.
Well, I can imagine thinking about it in the downtime. You know, like when they're in the dormitories and they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
But when they're gonna do service, and all of a sudden it's like, my kids. I haven't seen my kids in a couple of weeks.
And Marco actually thought he was going to quit.
Are they both dead? Are they okay? I don't know.
And it wasn't, and I didn't feel sorry for him.
I didn't either.
It was irritating.
I thought it was fucking retarded. This is one of my absolute biggest pet peeves about these fucking reality shows, where the contestants are like, oh my god, I haven't seen my family in a week. And it's like they have the competition, like in The Biggest Loser, they'd have the competition of like, if you win this challenge, you get to talk to your family members, or you get to read letters from them.
Yeah.
And if you lose it, we're gonna throw them away. And it's like, this is just fucking stupid. Like, I didn't see my family. I'm on this reality show.
I just didn't like it, and I'm sorry. Maybe that sounds cold and callous, but my God, he knew what he was signing up for. And it has only been a couple of weeks. Come on.
The reward, well, it has been probably. I don't know how long it's been, but the rewards far outweigh the time.
Well, it's called a sacrifice.
Yeah.
That you're making to have a better life.
Yeah.
To improve your life.
So oh God.
And I'm sure that the family is supportive of that too, and they don't want them wasting their time crying their eyes out.
I think the one thing that would be hard is that they probably don't have any access to internet. They probably don't have any TV. So, you imagine living in these dormitories with people you don't know and just doing this reality show stuff constantly, 24/7. I would understand that getting to someone, because I wouldn't be able to deal with that especially if it were like a cooking show. But the fact that like he has this breakdown, we saw something similar with the Angry Video Game Nerd when he took this trip to these mountains, like a couple of states away, or it might have been like, what's that place where that show was filmed? The one with the guy.
You always get mad at me, but I can't think.
Longmire? Where was that filmed? What state was that?
Is that Wyoming or Montana?
I think he went there, and he was trying to find the mountain that Rocky climbed in Rocky IV.
Grand Tetons.
And he started crying because, like, I haven't seen my wife and kids in 2 days. It's like, grow up.
Oh, no. Really.
Make the fucking Wellington.
Yeah, well, he really pulled himself together for the service, the dinner service, and you never heard about it again. Yeah. So I don't know if this was like, quote, another red herring.
I think that it was because he came out of the back, and the way that he came out, I thought, he's going to quit.
Yeah, Marco was scared he was going to quit.
Oh, all they have this season a bunch of quitters,
And he doesn't like that.
I don't like quitters.
Well, it's ridiculous. They're competing against so many people to get there, and they're lucky to get the spot. And so to just give it all up like that and not get your act together and pull yourself together is childish. And maybe you shouldn't be there, I know Egypt actually in the beginning. Remember, he had that. Well, I hadn't watched the show for a couple of episodes, but I saw the episode where he missed his kids and he quit. But Chef Ramsay wouldn't let him, and he's been really good ever since.
I think Egypt was a little different because two things. I think that Egypt's kids are a lot younger, or they might have even been like really, really young. So obviously, that time with the kids is really important, especially to their growth, to have a male father figure in their lives is very important, a traditional family. But at the same time, he's also like an outcast on his team, so those are like multiple things for him to be like in that position. Whereas Joe, he's really good at cooking, and he's in a really good spot. He's lucky to be there. His team likes him. Gordon likes him. He doesn't have any reason to be like,
Well, and I know, so that kind of, I think it shocked me and Marco.
Yeah.
Him be acting like that.
I just feel sick. From that brownie. I don't understand it.
I didn't, and I'm used to food really.
I'm gonna throw up.
Makes my stomach burn, but anyway, back to the show. So anyway, the men really did not. I'm just trying to think of. They really didn't do badly at all. I don't remember any mistakes they made. Do you?
Yeah, they might have. I don't know.
But it was very minor.
The women's team lost, and this was where it really, really exposed how bad they are. Because they started fighting and arguing about who should go home, and it was these three women. It was Anne-Marie, Brittany, and Amanda, the girl who's still there for some reason.
And really, I thought, should have... But
yeah.
I thought she should have gone home, but she was the one who got to pick the two people to be selected to go home.
No, she got to say it. I think. I don't think she got to pick.
I did not understand. She is the one who screwed up the scallops and made them into 10 different shapes. Which is stupid. I mean, these are people who have jobs.
I think the thing that annoys me...
jobs.
That it annoys me about her is that she's so loud and outspoken in a negative way, to where she thinks that she's above everyone else on the team. Because there was this part where she was telling Brittany, "Listen, Brittany, I'm going to speak to you like I'm your parent or your teacher. I've seen a lot of improvement from you, but I do not think you're ready to lead a blockade of Gordon chefs. I don't think you're ready to do that. And this is why." Like, she was being really patronizing and, like, just really, like, ugh, like... That's the type of person who needs to go home, because she's not a
team player.
She's got no self-awareness. Because it's like she has no room to talk.
The only thing,
she's not ready to be a leader in Gordon's kitchen.
The only thing that she did do well, she was one of the 3 on the women's team who got every single tasting thing right. Didn't miss a one. So I have to give her credit for that, but she made all kinds of mistakes. They would ask her, well, how long till something is ready that she was working on, and she wouldn't respond. And that happened multiple times. And then there was the thing with the scallops that were cut into different shapes, which is bizarre. And so she should have been the one to go But instead, Gordon Ramsay asked her, who would she nominate to go home? I didn't get that at all. But basically, I thought, even before they had to pick anybody or whatever, I thought the women would lose, and I was right. And the three weakest links were what we just said: Brittany, Anne-Marie, and Amanda, who we're talking about now, who has the pink hair and who cut the scallops into multiple shapes. So those were the 3 weakest. And remember, and then there's 2 left, and that's Hannah and that other girl, Wit. They're the 2 that they were fine. They didn't do anything wrong during dinner service. And the 3 weakest ones, one of the 3 gets to pick those 2 to go home. And so who gets to go home? Brittany. And I was really shocked, but he agreed with her, which I thought those 3, how I just said, were the weakest. So I guess that if she's going to go home today, might as well go home today.
Yeah.
But those other 2 should be going home too, because they're weak.
Now, my grade for the episode is a C, because I feel like you have these chefs on both teams. They stand out like sore thumbs. They need to go home. And so the competition is not really that interesting, because you know that those chefs are eventually going to go home. You know that Amanda's not going to be in the finale. You know that Kyle is not going to be in the finale.
No.
So it's kind of like this awkward thing where you're kind of waiting around for these people to leave.
So you're just really...
So it's kind of...
You're whittling it down.
Yeah.
In your mind, who's going to be there, and it's not hard to whittle.
And that's not even real. Like, I can't... It's never interesting that way in a reality show, because it's always better when you have all these different people who it's like, oh, who is going to win? Who is going to get ahead at the end? Like, they all have a chance.
Well, see, the thing that makes this season different, now, truthfully, I have not watched the show in years, because I got pissed off because
well, you're going to watch it now.
You're
going to watch it
too
now.
Much.
You're going to watch it now.
How could they be a chef and taste their food or anybody else's food if their tongues and mouth are so infested with smoke?
We've already dealt with that, Safi. We're beyond
anyway,
that now.
The problem or the difference between all these other shows, seasons, and this one is that all these people, they all have chef jobs. So they're not starting from scratch. They have, I mean, they're not little lowly chefs. They're high-ranking chefs where they are. So you're really quibbling for little details. I mean, can they handle this special job that Gordon Ramsay has for them? You know, this is to go up another level. So when other shows, other seasons, the people are as experienced. So you're dealing with people who just don't have enough experience, and so they really are starting pretty much from scratch in terms of professional development. So that's why I think this makes this kind of harder. But it seems...
Really?
Oh, but they just seem all...
Really, Safi?
For the most part...
The competition was more last year. There was better competition last year.
Really? Well,
yeah.
I was going to say they're all pretty much the same.
Except for that one cringeworthy bromance with that weird guy who talked about getting sexually aroused when he'd shake hands with Chef Gordon.
Oh, girl.
And he got to the fucking finale. Like, that was so cringeworthy. Like, that guy should have been sent home, like, weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks ago. And I still can't get over that. Like, they basically orchestrated it. But that's another thing. It's like, when you get to the point in a reality show where the contestants can orchestrate that, like, oh, we're going to go into the finale as the friends, and we're going to have a friend versus friend finale. It's like, I think at that point, you need to step back and reevaluate, like, what do we need to do to make this more interesting?
Well, I think the problem is that all these chefs, I say for the most part, because like I said, there's a couple of standouts, but they're really all about in the same level.
Really?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
I think Hannah's got talent.
Yeah. Well,
I think
I'm saying
Egypt has a little bit of talent, too.
for the most part, they're all about the same skill level.
I think that Hannah's a little more advanced and as well as Egypt a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that they're a little bit above the skill level. That's the average there, especially when you're considering Amanda, who's still there somehow.
She should not be there.
I don't know why she's there.
I don't either, and it irritates me and drives me nuts.
It's kind of like back when you're like a kid, and it's like you got like a group of like 12-year-olds, and like, oh well, we have to play with the 8-year-old kid too because they're the sibling one of the kids. It's like that's what it feels like. It's like, oh no, we have to play with her. Like, we can't say anything bad around her. We can't say a naughty word around her. We gotta hold her hand and everything, and that's what it's like with Amanda there. She's like a little child, and she talks, I'm so great, you're terrible, you don't deserve to be here, even though you're really good and you've improved a lot. It's like, fuck you. Fuck you.
And I'm like, why is she being allowed? It should have been Hannah and Whit who picked. But then they asked them. But like I said, there's 3 weak people, and the one who went home was one of the 3 weakest people on the women's team. So I guess it didn't matter because
it's kind of like that part in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory where Veruca falls into the egg indicator thing, and she falls down there, and it's like, oh well, at least she's gone now. But then the dab follows after her. It's like, that's what Amanda's going to do. She's going to follow her. I bet next episode she goes home. It's going to be like Veruca and then her father. This case, those two.
Well, Gordon Ramsay did ask the other 2 women, Hannah and Whit, who they thought should go home out of the 2 that Amanda picked. And didn't they both say Brittany?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they, like I said though, but she was really one of the 3 weakest people. She is one of the 3 weakest women.
Remember that, Safi? Remember that in Willy Wonka? You like Willy Wonka, Safi?
Yeah.
Is that your favorite part? What's your favorite part of Willy Wonka?
I don't know, Marco.
The part where they eat the chocolate?
I thought the chocolate thing and the boys eating the chocolate. Doesn't he fall in the river or get sucked up in the tube or something? I can't remember.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Safi, we should do a Willy Wonka trivia battle.
I would not win. I'm not good at that. The only time we're good at trivia is when...
Did I ever have you watch Wonka? Did you watch Wonka with Timothy Chalamet ever?
Yeah, I watched all 3 of those Willy Wonka things.
Okay. Well, what would you grade this episode, Safi?
I just give it a C also. Okay. Really not much went on, and like I said, there wasn't any... this isn't like MasterChef where you have some of these inexperienced people who think they're the wonderful master chefs of the universe, but they're not really like that. And it's usually the understated who win. And anyway, it was just so even. There wasn't much dissension except this thing at the end where one of the 3 weakest people gets to pick 2 weak people to go home. And I really wanted her to go home. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And become one of our subscribers. We have how many subscribers now, Marco?
640.
640 subscribers. So that's it, everybody. It's a wrap. And we'll talk to you on the other side. Bye.